Good morning, how's it going? Today I'm going to talk about Cthulhu Death May Die, which is something I've already written an email about and already posted up a few pictures of, several times. It's a game I'm currently pretty much into, and it's a game that is currently overtaking Zombicide, which is a game that if you've been paying attention, you know that I really love. And so today I'm just going to talk briefly about why I like Cthulhu Death May Die so much, why I like it more than Zombicide, which is an insane thing for me to say, considering how much I like Zombicide. And that basically comes down to the fact that, there's a bunch of reasons, but to begin with, the genre is the same. So, meaning they're competing in the same space of a cooperative game where you have your characters that you're playing with, and you're running around a map trying to complete objectives, and there's a bunch of various minis of different types trying to destroy you along the way. Some of them are pretty easy to destroy, they're just fodder to make you feel good about yourself. And some of them are actually a bit more of a challenge to get off the board that you have to really dedicate time and attention towards. So while at the surface level they're playing in that same space of, dudes on a map, co-op game, try to survive, feel powerful, level up your characters, there's a variety of reasons why I like Cthulhu Death May Die better. Now, don't get me wrong, I still love Zombicide. I'm still excited for, Season 2. I still love Black Plague. Green Horde and Invader are still a bit of a toss-up for whether I'll end up keeping them or not, because I just like Black Plague so much better at the moment, but I'm still experimenting. But Cthulhu Death May Die really is just completely overtook them, and here are a variety of reasons why. So, to begin with, the first reason why I like Cthulhu Death May Die so much is the character upgrade sheets. So you have these characters over here that have their own sanity track over here that loads them up in terms of how you upgrade your character. Every time you hit one of these sanity markers, you upgrade one of your abilities. The problem is, if you get to the top of the track, you die. Straight up, you're dead, character's gone out of the game. Which is a mechanic that Eric Lang also had in the others, which I have not played yet, but it makes for upgrading your character just a lot of fun. Because on the one hand, you're trying to get as powerful as possible, as quickly as possible. On the other hand, if you ramp up that track too quickly, you're going to die, meaning your most powerful characters are going to exit the game because they've gone insane, which just makes upgrading just a lot of fun. The second thing is the actual character upgrades themselves, I personally find much more enjoyable than Zombicide. So these bottom two characters, looking at this guy again, these bottom two tracks over here are common skills that all investigators share. There's a handful of them: there's stealth, swiftness, marksman, arcane mastery, but there's like 6 or 7 skills that are common to all characters, that they all have mixed and matched in a variety of ways. But the real one that's interesting is the top skill. Every investigator has their own unique top skill that is completely unique to them, no other character has it, and that's usually what makes pulling that character so fun. And they just have complete game-breaking effects that drastically revise how you're going to play the game. Meaning, in addition to the fact that, well, I'll cover that soon, but it adds another level of uniqueness to every single game session that makes playing the exact same game twice fun. This game over here that we have set up, my wife and I, we played last night. We lost horribly. We reset this morning with the same exact mission, same exact Elder One, and we're just picked new characters. The new characters are completely make the game feel entirely different as we try to do the exact same stuff but with a new set of abilities to work around. And unlike Zombicide, in Zombicide, when your characters have character upgrades, for the most part, those character upgrades are common across the board, meaning as opposed to this game where you have 2 common skills and the rest are unique, in Zombicide, all the skills are, with a few exceptions, I think there's a few characters that have their own unique skill, but for the most part, it's all a common pool. It's less, your characters feel inherently less unique because they're generally all sharing from a common pool, and it's the combination that makes them unique. As opposed to Cthulhu Death May Die, every character inherently feels unique because every character has a top-level skill that is completely their own. So that's one of the reasons I like Cthulhu Death May Die more. Another reason is the combination of missions, bosses, and I guess characters. So this is episode 2. No spoilers really, because this game doesn't really have spoilers in the typical sense. But every character, and that up there, that guy over there on the track, is the Elder One we're playing against. So every mission, every scenario is a combination of one episode, one Elder One, and then the characters you pick. And that combination of episode and Elder One make every single game inherently feel unique, completely unique. Meaning that when you play Zombicide, and again, I love Zombicide, don't get me wrong, but when I flip open the scenarios of Black Plague, the actual differences in the scenarios feel minimal. Meaning, for the most part, it feels like I could just create my own board, set up a few spawn points, and I already know what I'm doing. It's usually just, get a few objectives, move on with life, kill bad guys. It's all fun. I like different maps, I do. And I like the fact that they hopefully have balanced the various scenarios so that I know what's a hard scenario, what's a medium scenario. But at its core, it's basically all the same. It's really just about the map setup. It's not about what else is happening. I'm only 2 episodes in Cthulhu Death May Die, so take it with a grain of salt. But in those 2 episodes, the whole game feels entirely different. The first game was a very tight map, with just cultists spawning fire everywhere. The second scenario, it's, you have to search cultists' dead bodies to find various tokens to unlock the tomes. The whole entire game for episode 1, episode 2 feels different. And it's not just the map itself. If it's just the map, it'd be one thing. But it's also that deck over here of discovery cards, is completely unique to the scenario. The various, unlike in Zombicide where you're drawing from an equipment deck that is the same game to game, in Cthulhu Death May Die, those effectively equipments, those discovery cards, which you can hopefully draw when you're on a safe space, they're completely unique to this episode. You shuffle those back in, pick another episode, you're not going to see those same cards. They're all completely different, and they interact in fun ways. You might draw a discovery card that says, take, item X, and then later you'll draw another discovery card that says, if you have item X, then, erupt in flame and take 2 damage or something. They combine in ways that are very interactive, and this is really where you see, this game is by Rob Davio from Pandemic season, from the Legacy Systems, and Eric Lang, who does all this stuff. At its face, this is all Eric Lang. Where you really see the combination of Davio's work is in those discovery cards and the way they all interact with each other. And then the second thing that's unique to the episode is this Mythos Deck. This Mythos Deck, which is basically the bad stuff you draw at the end of your turn to make you regret living, is a combination of 2 things. It's a combination of a deck of cards that is half from the episode. So, you see the episode itself. The episode provides half of these cards. But the other half of the cards come from the Elder One in play. And again, those combine in really annoying ways. The game, I don't know which one did which, but Davio and Lang combined it brilliantly in the sense that you have an Elder One who has various aspects that make the Elder One incredibly unique. The Elder One, like this Elder One, for instance, spawns these gate tokens that are basically extra spawn points that join the board, making it harder and harder for you to win because there's additional enemy spawn points joining the board every round. And those Mythos cards interact with the game brilliantly to have that Elder One really feel like this is not just some abomination from Zombicide who's coming to the game just hard to kill. That guy is really a unique presence who adds his uniqueness in his actual character and the way the character fights. In the Mythos cards, he adds to the game, and in his abilities that trigger every time he advances on the track. And those all interact incredibly to make the game really feel unique, both the episode you're playing and the Elder One that you're playing. Yeah, and so the combination of Elder One, episode, and characters really make every single game feel completely unique in its own way. I played episode 1 6 times, 4 times with my friend, twice with my wife, before touching episode 2. And I can tell you I've been playing Zombicide for a long time. I have never done something like that. Zombicide, I play 1 episode, I play another episode, I play another episode. Maybe at some point I jump back to an episode I already played. I don't really remember. Probably, it happened. I'm sure I've played episodes twice, but I specifically try to jump from episode to episode. I played 6 games in episode 1. I mixed up the Elder One and the characters, but the same exact episode. Then I finally moved to episode 2, but not even because I felt bored, just because I had 1 with my wife and I had 1 with my friend. So I moved on to the next episode. But that's absolutely incredible, and I love how Cthulhu Death May Die brings that to the genre. So that's reason number 2 I like Cthulhu Death May Die. The third thing I like about Cthulhu Death May Die, more than Zombicide, is just the way they deal with all the content they give you. In Zombicide, while I love the Zombicide system, the way they tend to do it is they just throw a crap ton of content at you and then basically rely on you knowing enough about the Zombicide world to put it all together. Here's 14 extra abominations that you got. Just do what you want. There's no rules. There's no suggestion even. You don't even get this pamphlet that says, I recommend adding two abominations per game or whatever. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. I've seen threads of people saying, well, I put all the abominations in the deck and then I died horribly. Well, of course you did. because you're not supposed to. But they don't tell you that. They just give you a ton of content and no real guide or definition of how to integrate it. Oh, you got extra equipment cards? Great, throw them in there. Extra spawn cards? Great, throw them in there. There's nothing you basically have to rely on the players to understand that you're basically being given a lot of content and you can use it how you want. Zombicide is a fun game. This is no food chain magnet with a restrictive set of rules and how you win up against each other. It's a cooperative game. The goal is to have fun. And fun generally means, in a co-op game, the way I've always put it is, in a co-op game, fun means that when you win, you feel you are close to losing, and when you lose, you feel like you're close to winning. That's what a co-op game needs. It needs that tenseness and that it could have gone in either direction. Sure, I happened to win, but we are so close to losing. Sure, I happened to lose, but we are so... Last game, when we played against that Elder God over there, we had him down to 2 remaining health out of his 36 health that he goes through. We had him down to 2 health before we finally died. That's perfect. That's totally the way I want to lose. I want to feel like I could have won. Or even if you lose earlier in the game, I want to feel like, we made a few mistakes, we could have done this, not just that we just drew a bunch of cards and just got destroyed. So in Zombicide, they rely on the players to guide that themselves. Oh, your group's doing well. Well, you can add an abomination if you want. You can add this. You can add equipment. There's all these things you can do to make the game harder or easier. But there's zero guidance of how to do that. You have to be playing. I mean, that could be a huge turnoff for someone who jumps into the system not knowing this. Compared to Cthulhu Death May Die, they still give you a crap load of content. I mean, those are 3 full boxes, plus they have another Elder one downstairs. They still give you a crap load of content, but the flip side is everything's constrained episode by episode. So in any single, you can ignore this pile of guys over here, and that's just my son likes to play with all the extra investigators, but everything is completely constrained to the episode, the investigators, and the Elder one you're playing with. So while the boxes have that sheer amount of content, it's incredibly guided in the way you use it. And ultimately, those 3 reasons I think. I'm sure I can think of something else later, but those 3 reasons are the main reasons why I drastically prefer Cthulhu Death May Die to Zombicide. The way the characters combine is just the way the characters, episodes, and Elder Ones combine. The guidance inherent in the system as opposed to the laissez-faire, here's a ton of stuff, make it work. And then the character upgrading is just so much more satisfying. And that's why I like Cthulhu Death May Die so much, and that's why you've seen so many posts and comments and videos and everything from me about it. I still love Zombicide, still excited, we'll still definitely be playing Zombicide. Ultimately, really what this puts into threat is, this puts whether I keep Green Horde or Invader that much more into threat. This puts whether I keep a game like Besieged that much more into threat. Deep Madness that much more into threat. Meaning there are other games in the genre that I like, but I didn't like as much as Zombicide, which was fine because I didn't mind having a backup for variety. But with Cthulhu Death May Die, Zombicide has now become my backup for variety. Not that you need variety with this. I mean, if you, depending on how much content you got, even in the base game, you have 6 episodes. If you just buy the base game retail, you have 6 episodes and 2 Elder ones. I told you I played the first episode 6 times before I moved on. And with 6 episodes and 2 Elder ones, you have, 12 combinations of games you can play. And that's not counting the way you combine the characters. There's tons of replayability in the base game alone. If you got any of the expansions or the Kickstarter content, there's just infinite replayability. I mean, infinite's a strong word, but a lot of replayability. Ultimately, when I say Zombicide for variety, I mean a different game system for variety. But yeah, really, this puts Invader, Green Horde, Besieged, and Deep Madness, I think those are the main ones I have in the genre, that much closer to the chopping block. And honestly, the way my collection keeps going, and with my hard and firm rule of only keeping enough games that I can mentally visualize actually playing, it really does put into question what's going to stay and what's going to go in 2020. Anyway, that's why I love Cthulhu Death May Die. I realize I still don't have a clever sign-off. I know Sam from the Dice Tower has try before you buy. I'm sure a million people have game on or whatnot. I would say purge yearly, but that could have different connotations. I'll figure some sort of a clever way to say goodbye eventually. But for now, I'll see you later.